So you're at home, you're chilling, you're going through YouTube, and you're looking for some videos that's going to help you with becoming a better cinematographer. And it seems like every creative that you come across is using a cinema camera like the RED Komodo, me included. It makes you start thinking that these cameras are pretty attainable from a cost perspective. And at first glance, if we're being honest, man, they're not too bad. In this video, we're going to look at the true costs of owning a RED camera. Let's start with the camera body. You can pretty much get a RED camera from anywhere between $6,000 and $25,000. And if you're wild, you can go with the V-Raptor XL for $40,000, which in its own is really not that bad. $6,000 to about $10,000, let's say for the Komodos, you're in pretty good shape. And if we're being honest, RED cameras are truly something special. They have amazing technology built in. They have an incredible image sensor, extremely reliable regardless of where you take it, and they have amazing dynamic range. Within the industry, a lot of producers, directors, people in charge that are looking for a camera operator, a DOP, if you actually own a RED camera and that's what they're looking for, that significantly helps when trying to get the job. And I think maybe one of the most intriguing things about a RED camera is that RED code RAW. It just gives you so much ability to push and pull your content in post. This all sounds great and all, but all you can do with this camera out of the box is turn on the menus and look at them. We all know when you first get a camera, the first thing you're going to need is a lens. And depending on what kind of camera system you're using before, you're probably looking at an EF, R mount, PL, or something like an F mount. The current RED cameras all use Canon RF mounts, which means if you don't already have a bunch of RF lenses, you're going to need to buy an adapter. Immediately after you get your adapter, you're going to want to get some lenses. And if you're coming from the photography world and already have some photography lenses, that's great. But when you get a cinema camera, more times than not, you're going to want to get some cinema glass as well. A couple of my lenses of choice are the Sigma Cine Zooms. I currently have the 18 to 35 that's being used to film this video right now, and the 50 to 100 millimeter. And yeah, these go for about $5,000 each. Now that we have a lens and adapter, we're going to need to get some power for the camera. I personally use the Core SWX Nano 98 micro batteries. I think they pack a lot of power in a little body, and I think they're pretty much perfect for the Komodos. So you think you're good now, right? No. You still need to charge these batteries. You can do this a couple of ways. The first one is to take the battery and put it on the camera, and while the camera's off and your DC power is plugged in, it'll charge your battery for you. The other way is to get yourself a dual battery charger. Yay, we can now use the camera and not be tethered to a power cord. So we have a lens, we have power, we should be good to go now, right? Wrong. You're gonna need media. Now the cards that I use are the CF Express Type B cards at 1 terabyte. And I own 3 of these cards. I love these ones because you get a ton of time that you can use to record on the camera itself, and they are extremely, extremely reliable. And if you have the cards, you're gonna need a reader, right? I use the RED card readers that RED actually make, along with Angelbird. And again, I decided to go with these ones because they're reliable and relatively inexpensive, but you will definitely need one of these. Now, technically, we have all the elements that we need to actually start using this camera, but the problem is we don't really have any way of holding it. With nothing really to attach onto the body, if you decide to use this in any capacity, you're literally holding it like this, which doesn't make any sense. So we're gonna need some handles. One of the handles that I decided to go with is the Komodo wing grip handle. I love it because it's pretty simple, pretty easy to use, and it's just the right size to actually use the camera. So the next item that I decided to go with is a NATO rail from Bright Tangerine. And as you guys can see here, it has a bunch of 1/4 and 3/8 mounting points, as well as a built-in NATO rail. So I use this because I want to be able to attach different things quickly onto this camera. Next up is a side handle. The one I decided to go with is from Condor Blue, and I love it because, as you guys can see, it has a NATO rail attachment here, and it has a really solid grip that I personally love. And on top of that, it has a run stop option that I can use to start and stop recording on the Komodo. So let's go ahead and put that one on. Next up is the bright tangerine top plate with the run stop options. And this one also includes a NATO rail option, so we'll see how that works in a few minutes here. The next thing you're gonna need is a top handle. I decided to go with the bright tangerine NATO rail style handle, and honestly, I've used a ton of different top handles, and by far, this one's my favorite. Put that on, pretty simple. Slide it onto your NATO rail. Now, if I'm gonna be totally honest, you can probably stop here. You have your top handle, your side handles, your battery, your lens, your media. Your camera's ready to be used. But for nearly $14,000, you literally just have a run and gun camera, which doesn't exactly make sense. If you're gonna wanna buy a camera this expensive, you're gonna wanna be able to configure it a few different ways. The Komodo and Komodo X have a built-in screen on top, but it's tiny. You're not going to be able to compose or pull focus on this screen at all. So you're going to need an external monitor. If you guys have been keeping up with me at all, you know my monitor of choice is the Indy 7 by Small HD. I love this monitor. Let's go ahead and throw it on the camera. And guess what? You're going to need some SDI cables to connect the monitor to the camera. And if you decide to get the Komodo control with this camera, it's definitely going to cost you a little bit extra. So we are almost there. I use my camera for a ton of different productions. It could be a wedding one week, could be a commercial, could be some promo work. You name it, I probably shot it with this camera. And a lot of the times I need to be able to use this camera in a bunch of different setups. So sometimes it might just be freehand, might be on a tripod, might be putting on a jib, Steadicam, or something like a shoulder rig. And pretty much any of those setups is gonna need some type of solid base plate. I use a couple. The first one that I attach is the GDU base plate for the Komodo. And this is definitely completely optional, but look at that cheese plate. It has so many different mounting points and I absolutely love it. And even on the side, you guys can see there's a bunch here and a bunch as well on this side. The next thing we're going to need is a base plate that's going to give us the ability to add 15mm rods. And the one I decided to go with is from Bright Tangerine, their left field base plate. And I've talked about this in a couple of other videos, and I mean, I love this base plate. And this is an additional plate that you can purchase that basically allows you to go from tripod to a gimbal really quickly. This is like one of those universal options that can be used on both. So I got this to go with the left field base plate because it's gonna make my life a lot easier going from tripod to gimbal. Let's throw that on. And now we have something that can just slide right onto this base plate. Of course, you're gonna need some 15mm rods. One other quick thing I really love about this base plate is that you can tighten these rods with only one lock. So I'm just gonna tighten this one, and you have either one on the side back here, or you have one on the front right here. And as you guys can see, they're locked in. And finally, after you have your whole camera set up the way that you want it to be as functional as possible, you still need a way to carry everything, right? Yeah. So this is where a Pelican case comes in. I use the Pelican 1535 case, and I mean, I love it. It fits all the different parts that I have for the camera all in one bag, and they're well protected. So it's a great way to put everything together. Altogether, the way that my rig is set up and all the other little things that I have to put on it, it comes just under $20,000. So it nearly doubled the price of the Komodo X body. And if you live in Canada, after the currency exchange and taxes and duties, you're just about at $25,000. And if we're gonna keep it a buck, there are so many other things that you still need to add to your kit. Tripod, prime lens kit, lighting, audio, fizz system, drones, media storage, a laptop. Truthfully, the list of things that you want can go on forever. I recommend, the way I set up my business is I purchased everything. But if you're just getting in the game and you're just getting started, it's not a bad idea to rent a lot of these things as well. And of course, There are definitely cheaper alternatives to the things that I mentioned in this video today. But I've heard this saying before that says you can either buy it nice or buy it twice. And believe me when I tell you, I've went through my share of buying certain things twice, and it's not fun. So my personal recommendation, if you don't want to go home, you gotta go hard. But I hope this video helped you understand that getting the body is literally the least of your worries. There are a ton of other extra little things that you have to purchase before the camera becomes fully operational. Of course, you don't have to buy all of these things all at once. I took a period of time to get everything that you see here today, but this is potentially what you're looking at as an end result. That's why I say before you jump into a cinema camera, you need to learn some of the soft skills and technical skills first. You need to know how to use a camera, a lens, and of course you need to be able to shape light to make something that looks truly professional. And then you're going to need to be able to attract and obtain the type of clients with budgets that can support a purchase like this. I'm curious, how many of you guys actually own a cinema camera and how much did it actually cost you? Go ahead and leave it in the comments below so we can have this conversation. I truly really want to just help others understand the true price of owning a cinema camera. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. And if this video helped you in any way, make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment so the algorithm can help share this with other people. And as always guys, thanks for watching. Remember to look, learn, and share. Take it easy guys. Peace.